really desperately wanted a water birth, but I didn't actually have time to get into the water because I went from 3 pretty much to 10. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, and I finally had Baby Blue. I can't show you guys right now because she's sleeping, but I will find a time and I'm sure she will wake up at some point during this video. She's here, guys. She is so sweet and snuggly. But it's been a minute since I've posted a video, and I thought I was going to do a birth vlog, but in the end I didn't do that because I didn't have the mental capacity to vlog at the same time. I don't know how people actually do it. So I did manage to get like footage of the birth, but the angle of the birth, and I think for me personally, watching it back and then sharing that with you guys is a bit too, I don't know, for me it's just really private. So I thought instead I'll do my birth story, and it didn't go at all how I intended the birth to go. If you don't know me, or this is the first time you're watching my video, I'm Hayley, and this is baby Blue. My hair is like waking her up. And how we got her name, my husband and I are both Christians, and we really love biblical names for our children. Like I say, children, we don't know when that's gonna happen. And we also really liked E-names because of the surname that we have. So we was kind of like, oh, Eve is okay, but Evie sounds a lot sweeter. We ended up going with my name and her name, and part of me was really happy with that because when you get married you lose your surname. And I said to Aaron, I was like, I really want to pass down something of mine to like my daughter because she's going to change her surname. She can pass it down and continue it on. Whether she does that or not is her choice. So that's how we got her name. And I'm just going to talk with you guys from the beginning. And just so you know, my brain is a little bit foggy from the whole experience. So I'm going to try and be as accurate and as real as possible. But I'm only going to talk from what I can truly remember because it's a bit of a blur when I look back at the birth. I think a 10-hour labour. So it all started on February the 18th, and funnily enough Aaron had gone out with his mum to dinner. And even funnier, like when they went to the restaurant, their waitress's name was Evie. And Aaron was like, oh, that's a bit weird. And he actually kept the receipt to this day, and we really want to frame it because we just think it's a really cute memory. Side note, I was having contractions basically on February the 18th, and I thought they were just Braxton Hicks. I've had Braxton Hicks for like 4 weeks leading up to this date, and by this point now, she was due February the 7th and I'm 12 days overdue, which the hospital and the midwives then start to get a bit concerned. And me being me, I was just avoiding them, like, the baby will come, and it was getting later and later. I was actually having contractions the whole day, and my friend Kaylee was watching basically, and she was going, it's a bit weird, but we didn't really think anything of it because like I said, I had it so much the 4 weeks before. It felt to me the exact same. And as I was having this like this tikka masala, I was thinking either this tikka masala doesn't sit well with my tummy or something's going on down there. Because I was eating the tikka masala and I was having really bad like contractions at this point, and I was like, this feels a little bit different, but I'm not gonna think anything of it. So I was just kind of in this bubble of like ignoring any pain that I was in, of like, it's not gonna be yet, and I'm gonna get my hopes up again, and then it's not gonna happen. So I'm just like telling Aaron, I'm just like, oh, it's probably just Braxton Hicks again. And he's like, no, Hayley, I think this is it. So he starts timing it. At this point, the contractions were happening every 20 minutes in the very beginning, like every 20 to 30 minutes. And obviously the pain was starting to kind of increase. And then Aaron calls his mum, his mum is a nurse, and she came over. And then she was kind of walking me through what to do, like how to handle the contractions, like going into different positions and all these kind of things. So a couple of hours have been, And at this point I think I was contracting every 10 to 15 minutes. Guys, it was painful. Like, the contractions out of the whole thing I actually remember, and I think it was so much worse than the delivery. Like, I remember the contractions being like really painful, and in between, like, I was just making jokes, like different jokes throughout the contractions, because it was how I was coping. And Sam goes, "Oh, you're not there yet, you're not ready to go, you're not ready to go to hospital yet, you're too joyful." At this point, I think she recommended to sleep, because she was like, it's the beginning of your labour, you're not going to get a chance to sleep after, so try your best to sleep now, and that way you'll feel more energised for when you have to give birth. So I took her advice, but I had a bath and I went to bed, but Aaron was reading me pretty much the whole Bible. He pretty much went through, I think, 4 or 5 books of the Bible, reading it to me. At this time I was just like, can you read to me, because it's the only thing that will kind of soothe me and comfort me. So Aaron, bless him, was like sitting there reading me like 4 books of the Bible, whilst I think I was dozing in and out of sleep, and obviously going through the contractions at the same time. And then to the point where it got worse and worse and worse, and it woke me up, because I could just sense at this point, I was like, this is definitely labour, because I feel different. And then a couple of hours they go by, and I ring the midwife line and they say, sounds like you're definitely at the beginning of labour, but we don't recommend you going into hospital yet, because we'll just give you a couple of hours, because you don't want to spend your time there. You'd rather be at home in the comfort of your own home than be in the hospital. Which, weirdly enough, for me, I actually felt more comfortable at the hospital than I did at home, because I felt like they would know the answers to my questions. Time goes by, then we go into hospital. They checked my dilation and I was only 2 centimetres, and I was like, oh my gosh, the pain, no, the pain's bad and it's 2. She was like, we recommend you to go back home and then come back in a couple of hours again, and hopefully we ideally want you here at 4 centimetres. I come back here and like a couple of hours go by, and I'm beginning to contract every 60 seconds. And every 60 seconds and every 3 minutes, I think it was, or 2 minutes, they had the contraction app, so I can't actually remember, but I think that's roughly what it was. And I was contracting so often, and then my waters broke. I'm a first time mum, I'd never experienced labour or birth before, so I didn't have a clue what to expect. And so we called the midwife line again, and at that point they still told me to stay at home, and I was like, I feel like I should go in. And they were like, no, just stay at home just an hour or so and then go in. And I was like, oh, I just want to go in. I was like, I just want to go in and at least get it checked that my waters had broken. So then I went back to hospital again, and then they said, yep, your waters have broke, and you're dilating only from 3 centimetres. I think I only went up 1 centimetre, but my contractions were so often that it actually seemed odd that I was only 3 centimetres. But they said, we'll keep you here, because they could see on my face I was like, I don't want to go home, I want to be here. And they were like, we'll keep you here and you can, you know, chill out here, basically. So I did, and I had the gas and air at this point, and I was, I think like another couple of hours went by, and the contractions were every 60 seconds. And like, usually if it's that often, you're further down in birth, like you're 6 to 7 centimeters, maybe more. And my contractions were so often that we thought I was further than what I was. So when I found out and they checked me, they said I was only 3 centimeters again. Yeah, they told me I was 3 centimeters again. And I was like, what? I haven't even changed. And they were like, no, it's 3 centimeters is good. I was like, no, it's not good. I said to her, I was like, I've been at 3 centimeters for so long, and like my contractions are so often. I was like, are you joking me? Like, are you being serious? And she goes, yeah. She goes, but it's so good, like you're doing great and blah blah blah. And then at this point there, Aaron really kind of, because we were so like we all thought at this point it's like further along because of my contractions. We all felt deflated at this point of like, oh, she's still got like a lot of way to go. And Aaron really struggled seeing me with like in a lot of pain. He really did. And he recommended me to take the pethidine. It went along. Aaron was like, you should really take it. It'll be really good. It'll ease your pain. And I said, okay, I'll take the pethidine. And I took the pethidine, and then Aaron went downstairs to pray in his car whilst I was still upstairs with Sam in the birthing unit. And he went to pray in the car and he said, Lord, please, like, please let this baby come like quick, because I can't bear to watch her in pain anymore. It's horrible. And by this point, after he said amen, he had a call from his mum who was with me, and she said, you need to get up here right now. She didn't say anything else. She was like, you need to get up here right now, like now. Because at this point I started pushing, and obviously, like, if you're only at 3 centimeters or 4, like, it doesn't usually speed up that quick, but you don't usually start pushing. So the midwife didn't actually believe that I was pushing. The midwife was like, no, she's not, she's got a little bit of way to go. And she hadn't checked me at this point, but she didn't believe that I was pushing. She just thought it might have been something, I don't know what she thought, but it definitely was pushing. And so she left the room, and and I'm like pushing, and she comes back in, and then she sees me pushing, and she's like, oh, we need to check her. And then at this point, Aaron's just come into the room, and he's seen that I'm pushing, and he's like, oh my gosh, this baby's coming. And then she checks me again, and at this point now, in space of that time of Aaron going down to pray and then coming back up, like, not even that, the point where he said amen is the point where I started pushing. Thank you, Lord. She checks me and she says she's 8 centimeters, but she's dilating to 10, so she's ready to give birth. She's ready. And then she goes, Hayley, do you want a water birth? And I go, yeah. I don't even think I spoke to her, but I remember apologizing and saying thank yous and using my P's and Q's throughout that whole experience, because I remember thinking, Hayley, you need to be polite, because they must have like really like different experiences with different women, because this is so painful. So you need to be extra polite, because you don't want to like give them a bad day at work, you know what I mean? I don't know why I was thinking that, but I really did embody that politeness. And I was just like saying thank you. I was like, yes please, oh sorry. And I was doing that in the middle of my life. I just look back and I just think, wow, like, that's mad, because that's probably, I would say it's the second worst pain I've ever been in. So it was just funny. And she goes, yeah, do you want a water bath? And I go, and then she starts running it. She checks me again in like a couple of minutes, and she's like, no, you haven't got time. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. And I'm like rocking and swaying, like laying down on the bed, and I'm pushing. I'm on my side actually, I think, because that's the only place that I felt really comfortable. And I really, really desperately wanted a water birth, because I've seen so many good recommendations and so many good things about having a water birth, and especially it decreases your chance of tearing, it relaxes you more, it reduces the pain. So I really desperately wanted a water birth, but I didn't actually have time to get into the water, because I went from 3 pretty much to 10, which I'm really grateful for actually, because I was ready. Like, I was ready. I was like, let's get this quick, let's have a quick labour. At this point, the pethidine hadn't actually had time to kick in. So pethidine usually takes up to 20 minutes. I was pushing, and my pushing lasted 10 minutes, and I pushed her out in like 7 pushes, and that was it. And so the pethidine actually hit me after I started getting really drowsy. Like, I was still on the gas and air throughout the entire process. I found that so helpful, by the way. So I think because of my performing arts kind of background, and how you learn how to use your voice and how you use your diaphragm and how you learn how to breathe during singing exercises, I found the gas and air so helpful, because I felt like I knew how to use it because of the training that I've had. and I found it so relaxing. So I was on the gas and air pretty much the whole way through the birth because it helped me control my breathing a lot. Just a bit of a side note there, but moving back to pushing her out, so 7 pushes, she was out, and then she weighed 7 pound 6, and she did have the cord round her neck. So it's really interesting because obviously I didn't know at this time, but I also had the cord around my neck, and I also came out 7 pound 6. So it's basically like a little mini me. She came out and I was still a bit drowsy from the pethidine, so they try and encourage breastfeeding straight away, which I did do. I managed to do, but I was so like tired and exhausted, and as well as the pethidine, it was kind of like a whole thing going on. I was so tired. Yeah, I think Sam did a lot of the work. Sam did a lot of the work after birth and during birth. Her little self was on me, and then they took me into a separate room. I had my own room, which was lovely. But to be honest, guys, I was just so tired from the 10-hour labour. I just wanted to sleep. I honestly was so tired. So I slept for about 3-4 hours, I think, and Sam had the baby, and I think Aaron had the baby as well. And then we had to spend 24 hours there because her temperature was low, so we had to boost up her temperature before she can go home. And also they have to check that you're established with breastfeeding, so they can't let you leave unless you feel confident and unless you know what you're doing with breastfeeding. So they were like, we're just gonna monitor that and just make sure you know what you're doing. We're gonna watch how you do it, and if we see you're comfortable and confident enough, we can send you home. And at this point, after 24 hours, I really desperately wanted to go home because I just wanted to be in the comfort of my own home. But I spent the 24 hours there anyway, so they can monitor her, and that made me like a little bit more sane, so they can monitor her and then monitor me as well. And it was nice just having the bathroom like right next to you because we don't have an ensuite, so it was lovely just to be able to go in and out. Like, it was great. But yeah, and then we brought her home, baby girl home, and I remember setting her down because after birth I was like, I can never do this again. And then like it took about 24 hours, put her home in the car seat, put her on the living room floor in her car seat, looked at her in the house, and I was like, I want to do this again. I was like, what is wrong with me? But yeah, that's the end of my birth story. She's currently 5 weeks now since I gave birth. She's doing well. She's strong. She's a strong one. She's already lifting up her head, doing all the things she's supposed to do. And yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're a mum like me, just let me know down below how your birth went, whether it was a great experience or whether it wasn't. I really find your stories interesting. But God really worked a miracle in my birth, honestly. Like, to go that quickly from 3 to 10 is not heard of that often, and I felt really blessed after, of like, wow, that's amazing that I could experience such a quick birth. And even the pushing, like, it was quite quick. So I honestly was blessed with a great experience. And I don't know how I would do it next time, but hopefully I have time to get in the water next time. Hopefully. You never know. That's if God gives me another baby. Who knows? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and let me know anything you want to know, and I'll see if I can tell you. Bye. Hello. Hello. Got amazing eyes. Look at those. Hey, baby girl. Can you see? This is Baby Bleau. She's very sleepy.